Welcome to the 8th episode of Overwatch. I'm sorry, the Guardians and Overwatch podcast. I'm your host, Veritech. I literally woke up from a nap about 20 minutes ago. I've not been feeling that good. Welcome to the 8th episode of Overwatch. The last couple of days. I'm sorry, the Guardians.
Backpedal.
Hopefully you guys are doing all right. I'm joined today by my hosts, Azax and One Eye. Unfortunately, Tifa had an emergency come up, and so she had to go handle that, and we wish her the best in that. But how's your guys' week? I mean, we had a new patch come out, and a lot of content. Hopefully, you're able to get in and try that patch out. I know I did. How's your guys' week been?
Well, I know for me, as weird as this sounds, you know Veritech because you live in Colorado, but we got hit with a massive blizzard, and weather up in my neck of the wood was absolutely terrible. So I didn't have consistent power and internet for a day, 2 days, something like that. But the little bit of time I have had to game, I played the new patch for about 2 hours, but also it's the 2-year anniversary of Smite being officially released. So all week they've been doing really sweet promotionals if you're just passively playing during the week, and so I've been getting a few games in there, which has been a ton of fun. I haven't gotten a chance to play that game in a while, so it's been kind of fun to clown fiesta around. It's good.
Well, right on.
Oh boy. I played a little bit of the patch. I've been having some connection issues that let me play some of the games, but Overwatch in particular, it just seems like it's gonna kick me out every 30 seconds. So I did get to play some games, and I get to play some of the new game mode. That's primarily what I focused on, but it's been a good week. It's spring break, so I'm a happy boy, just working and playing video games.
Right on. Well, I know as far as the new patch and myself went, I've got quite a bit of playtime. I live just a little bit south of One Eye, so we avoided the majority of the snow. I know it's snowing right now, but it's not really sticking. So whereas he was fighting off abominable snowmen and looters and pillagers, I was playing on the patch, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and we'll get into a patch breakdown very shortly. But overall impressions of the changes were, it's again, Blizzard knows how to balance their game. They made a lot of changes. They added some stuff. They added some skins, and everything looks great. Nothing feels overpowered. Some of the changes they made, I'm just super in support of. Really, none of the changes they made I'm against. It's just one of those games where Blizzard's just doing everything right so far, and I'm excited for the release. But yeah, it's been a good week. And hopefully next week we'll get to play a little bit more, and the world won't be ending here in Colorado. So
yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I think what I like the most is that it feels like every single week the game just gets, or not every single week, every single patch, the game just gets more and more polished, and it's to the point where it's like every week I'm like, they could release it would be fine, and then they release a patch, it's like, holy fuck, more content, really? Okay. Yeah. And with this week patch in particular, just some of the changes they made to the UI and everything else is just like, okay, it's ready.
Yeah, that's honestly what surprised me the most was how much just visual and quality of life stuff was in this patch. They did balancing and stuff like that, but it's just polished at this point. They're like, yeah, this game is great. Let's just make it better.
Yeah.
I mean, this week was one balance change, and then everything else was just yeah, let's make the game way better.
Yeah.
Looks cleaner, looks brighter, runs faster. That's what we're looking for, right? It's awesome. And it's funny because I know personally, I never even really thought about that in terms of coming in a patch, just because the game already looked and played and felt so good. I was like, okay, so it's just going to be balancing changes to get it to release ready. Awesome, sweet. But then just logging on and being like, oh my god, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The UI is different, and then things happen,
so
and you experience new things that we'll discuss later. I'm just like, okay, that's new. All right, whatever.
Yeah, it's a good time to have this game. I feel bad for the people who are still only watch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but soon enough. It's gonna get released soon enough, and
launch is coming. It's true.
People who pre-ordered,
2 months away.
Yeah, people who pre-ordered, it's you had about 5 weeks left, so there is light at the end of the tunnel. You will be able to play the game. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and jump right into what the happenings were over this past week. And we'll start off. There was an animated short that Blizzard released, and not only did it look really good, but there was a lot of speculation over some of the potential Easter eggs that were in uh, the short, and people were going nuts. The Reddit detectives had their magnifying glasses out. They were going crazy trying to figure out what does this mean. But for starters, the short was about Winston, who we are actually going to do a character spotlight on today. And he was working in his workshop at Watchpoint Gibraltar, and he sees that there's a second Omnic crisis, and there's a bunch of people dying in Russia, and he's trying to decide, well, am I going to recall the Overwatch initiative? And he knows that after what happened in the events before the game, it's kind of frowned upon and not really allowed. There are laws against
It's
recalling.
straight up illegal.
It's straight up illegal, yeah. And it's like, so he's wrestling with that, and Reaper shows up to steal the data for all of the Overwatch agent locations. And so as it's going through, there's a bunch of stuff going on the screen, and Athena's talking to him, Athena being the AI for the Overwatch initiative there at Gibraltar, and you're seeing pictures flash across the screen, and you're like, wait, those are a lot of agents that aren't in the game. Holy crap, what's going on? So I mean, it was quite cool. It was about 7 minutes long, and everybody was just freaking out about how awesome this is. I mean, Blizzard is putting so much time into creating a story revolving around this game. It's a first-person shooter, and you actually start to care about the locations you're in. You actually start to care about the characters that are in the game. And this short, it's called Recall, with Winston. It's just absolutely amazing. What are your guys' thoughts after you saw it for the first time?
The whole thing with Recall is that the fights between a lot of people speculate about the team fights in Overwatch and what it means for lore. It's like the lore, like the actual PvP combat in Overwatch is not canon. None of it's canon. All the lore and everything's going to come from outside the game, and this is Blizzard's first step with these animated shorts beyond just like the regular trailers they've done. And it's really cool seeing just the little bits and pieces where you have Winston trying to decide, bickering with his AI if he should reinitiate Overwatch, and then you have Reaper and the agents from the evil organization Talon attacking, and you start to speculate, like, what are Reaper and Talon doing together? Is Talon the one who changed Reyes into Reaper and all this stuff? And it's just fucking cool. The level of animation is Pixar good. It's fucking amazing, honestly, and just. It makes you, as she said before, it makes you care about the characters. Just, my God, Baby Winston is so adorable.
Baby Winston is absolutely adorable. The things that I really appreciated about it personally is the amount of detail in between the level and the scene. Like, the entire scene takes place in the starting point for attack for Watchpoint Gibraltar, and it's the exact same spot. Like, if you load into the level, you can sit at the same desk Winston's working at the shield projector. You can see his suit hanging up there. You can jump straight up to the balcony and go at the computer, and it's all exactly the same. It's not like it's close. It is the same. And it's cool because Blizzard said that they're going to do animated shorts and they're going to do online comics and all this stuff to expand on the lore. And there's so much lore just hinted in the game, and natural character interactions and environment interactions and things like that. And so there's so much that we already kind of know and are hinted at, like even with the skins and things like that. So finally getting to sink our teeth into it a little bit is super exciting for me. And I'm glad that they're keeping up the same quality level that we've seen with them previously, because I remember seeing the announcement trailer at BlizzCon and being like, they're teaming up with Pixar, like, sweet, cool, and seeing them maintain that same level just through everything, it just makes me extremely excited to see what they do with all the backstory.
Yeah, and then just kind of to commemorate everything that's going on, Blizzard then announced that coming soon, Blizzard is trademarked soon, they're going to add a Lil Winston plush, just because they kind of had this in their back pocket, and I think they as a marketing strategy, they knew people were going to go absolutely nuts over the short. They're going to go nuts over the game. Let's go ahead and throw this plushie at them, and it's absolutely adorable as well. I don't know if I'll get it right away just because I don't have a whole lot of money, but I have a lot of desire to own it eventually, and it will look good on my desk. So it's everything that...
This is not for you. This is for my desk.
This is for my desk, yeah. So everything...
Oh, I'm the same way. I know that feeling.
Yeah, so everything that Blizzard is doing to tie it all together. I mean, they're adding merchandise that people can love on when they're not in Overwatch playing the game, and so it's absolutely awesome. And then of course, as I said, when he finally does subdue Reaper, he goes ahead and activates the Overwatch initiative, and it's just cycling all these faces across the screen, and people had actually stopped. I think there's like 14 or no, there's 21 faces that flashed across the screen.
Yeah.
And I don't think all of them are going to be in the game. Somebody went ahead
No.
and actually like Reddit detectived it down and said, well, there's really only like 5 or 6 where it's different. It looks different. The text is a little bit different, and they look like they're actual, detailed people. I know Soundquake is one of them that was in the Reddit, or the concept art that was put up on Reddit right after the game was announced. He's a giant guy. He's talked about in the original trailer, the reveal trailer at BlizzCon, where he says, he's got missiles that fire out of his chest, and he was in there, and there's a couple others, and it's just like, you hear about like Sombra and Athena, and you're like, well, these are characters. They're either going to be in the game or they're going to be playable, and now we're starting to see faces. What does this mean? Like, when are these new characters? When are they coming out? So it added a lot of fuel to that fire, that not only are they releasing new content and patches, but they're probably not done with the character side of things either. So,
Oh, hell no.
definitely looks awesome. Yeah, really looks awesome. But what came along with that animated release was a new patch. And the crown jewel of that new patch, that was evident immediately outside of the skins, was that there is a new map. And the new map is called Route 66. It literally looks like it was ripped out of the movie Cars, and they just threw a train in it that had derailed. And
An exploded train.
An exploded train,
Junkrat
yeah.
and
I mean, it
Roadhog.
really does, though. Like, seriously,
That's
it's
the
so
first thought.
cool. There's like so many little bits of lore in it, and it literally, I mean, it's one of those ones where you load in, you're like, oh man, it's stunning. It's like the first time you load into Ilios, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh man, just it's so beautiful. Especially starting on attacking side, like with the bridge right there off on the cliff, and like everything's actually rendered, so like
Yeah.
all turns with you. I don't know, it's gorgeous. I'm super into it. It might be my favorite map.
You walk in and it's really small. Like the actual battleground itself is really small and tight, and just like twisty through this canyon. And then you get to the open area on the side. It's like, oh, that's so pretty. Just like open, like it looks. It just reminded me of Cars instantly. Just like, wow, this is freaking pretty. And there's hover choppers and biker gang stuff all around, and bars and jukeboxes and little diners. It's like, oh my god, this is definitely Route 66, and it's spectacular. I wasn't expecting a new payload map, but it looks so good.
It
I-
did. It
I
did.
actually like that you brought up the hover bikes, because that was my favorite detail when I first saw it. I was like, "Oh, look at these future biker gangs! Like that's great." Like, but my dad rides motorcycles. I've been exposed to him my entire life, so seeing him, I was like, "Oh, that's a cool little touch. Thumbs up."
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've only played the map a few times because, unfortunately, with how they randomly select maps and whatnot, most of the
Yeah.
time I was playing on Lijiang this week whenever I was playing. But I did play it 2 or 3 times. I will say that it is a huge map comparative to other maps. I really felt lost for the first couple of minutes I was playing it. It feels like there's so many different places you can go, and I like to go and I like to explore maps so I can figure out, well, if I'm on Junkrat, where can I hide to throw this rip tire and catch as many people as possible? If I'm on Lucio, where can I go, and kind of wub people back or wub people off of ledges? That's one of my favorite things to do. And the first couple of minutes, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. We were on attack to escort the payload. The first time I loaded in, we moved outside the spawning area, and there's a train car that's laying on its side. There was 2 bastions set up on top of the train car, just spawn camping us. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on right now, but I know that this map is awesome because, like, just watching the videos and watching other people play it, and once we were able to take out those bastions, it just opened up, and I'm just like, oh my god, this map is so, like, it's so different from all the others, and it felt amazing. But it did.
Yeah.
It took me probably about a playthrough and a half to get used to it because it is so different and so big. But it does. I mean, again, they put a ton of detail into this map, and it's another. I feel like another smashing hit. by Blizzard, and it makes me excited to see what else they're going to add, because they keep surprising us with this content, and you're like, is there any bad part of this game that they're going to release? Like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and so far it's been nothing but home runs.
The thing that I really like about the map design is it's a big map. It's not as big as, say, like Hollywood or Volskaya or something like that. But what I really like about the map is it's super compact. My favorite sections in all the maps are like in Hollywood when you get into the studio, or like Watch Point Gibraltar when you're pushing it through the bay. You know what I mean? All those really tight, windy corridors, and it's an entire map of nothing but that. And so the combat in it just feels super fast paced. There are lots of places to drop on people. I mean, it's a bloodbath. You know what I mean? It's a really cool design. Lots of nooks and crannies, lots of good little alleys and stuff like that. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it does. It feels really good, and I was getting nailed in the face by a Widowmaker, because there's a ledge as soon as you go out, right before you go around that first corner with the payload. I'm like, oh, there's a ledge, let me see where this goes. And I went around, and there's like a passageway that goes through, so you can kind of have a shortcut, as your team is going down there. If you're a marksman or you're a character like Reaper and you want to drop down behind the enemy team as they're defending it, there's a passageway. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and go through this passageway. And the instant I went into it, there was a Widowmaker pointed straight down it, just headshotted me. I'm like, I don't even really have my bearings yet, lady. What are you doing? And
why you do this?
Yeah, why you do this? Like, I'm trying to learn, but
no.
Yeah, and there's just so many of those little areas on this map where it's just nooks and crannies, like you said, and there's just places to hide. And there are places where I thought I was hiding, but really all I was doing was showing my back to the enemy, and they came around the corner like, oh, dead. It's like, I have no idea what's going on, but I love it. Like, there's so many places to get up, like aerial vantage points on this map for the defending team. If you have a really good, well-coordinated offensive team, there's just places for you to get up. Like, there's good places for a Pharah to be, good places for like, this is a good map for Widowmaker, and you know how much I hate Widowmaker. Like, she's really good on this map, and Blizzard, they just added more variation compared to what they already have. It's not more of the same, it's payload, but it actually feels really good. Like, it doesn't feel like, something like Anubis where there's a choke point and you're like, ah, crap. Like, if you're getting spawn camped like I was with the Bastions, we just went on another entrance and just flanked them, and everything was fine. But it feels really good. I want to play it more next week because I feel like I didn't play it enough this week. But, overall, another really good addition to the game. And there are Easter eggs on the map. Blizzard has been really like, it's almost like they're like, hey, here's a basket full of Easter eggs. We'll just throw them into the code. Like, here's more, here's more, here's more. Like, there's some story elements called the Deadlock Gang, and there's a lot of Easter eggs in this map. There's posters on the walls. There's bikes overturned down the way a little bit. You see the train where it's like, oh, they probably derailed it because they were, it was a heist, or something happened with this gang. There's bits and pieces of them all over the map, and if you kind of take a minute, you go into a custom game and you just look at all the Easter eggs, you look at all the environment, you can see like they put so much detail into this map, and there is traces of this Deadlock Gang everywhere on the map.
And this is the gang that McCree used to be a part of. So there's little Easter eggs about how much they hate McCree on the map as well, which I find really funny. And then, of course, there's the controversial Easter egg that was already removed for the game.
The outhouse.
there was an outhouse, and on the floor of the outhouse was magazines with pictures of female Overwatch characters. And it lasted, like 2 days before it was removed?
Yep.
Just like...
Yep.
So,
yeah, I never got to see it, but...
Yeah, I saw screenshots of it because I was too busy trying to figure the map out. That by the time I was like, oh, I've heard about this, I went in and it had been patched out, but they had hotfixed it. But I did see the pictures of it, and it's those little details that you're like, oh, Blizzard, like you really care about this game, and they're just adding these little things where it has really nothing to do with the game at all. It's just like, hey, you can have a little chuckle like in this outhouse. It's kind of an environmental quality of life thing, and It was obviously deemed to be too controversial because they hot fixed it. But I mean, it was funny because you just like there's nudie mags in a outhouse. Like that's so thematically correct with how you would imagine kind of like a Wild West town modernized would be like. So it was really cool.
It's a scummy biker gang. They hate Tracer, but they kind of like her.
I mean, it can't stand her, but if it's Tracer, I mean, she's adorable and she's got that accent. I get it. I don't like Tracer either because she's freaking zips everywhere around the map. But I don't like her because I can't play her. It has nothing to do with her in general. That's where me and the Deadlock gang differ. But really good.
I like Tracer. I don't think there's a more satisfying hook in the game. Like, you land that, it just feels so good every single time.
That's true.
Oh man.
That's true.
No.
But the map was good. The other thing that they added outside of the skins was they added a new game mode called Weekly Brawl. And for the purpose of the beta, it's new every day, but they're going to rotate it every week. It's going to operate the same way as the Tavern Brawls in Hearthstone, where every week you have something. You play a game, you win a game, you get a loot crate, and it's going to be a different set of rules. The first day was probably the most painful rule set I've ever played in this game. I can't play Hanzo, I can't play Genji, and the only thing was Hanzo or Genji on Hanamura, the attack defend map, the control point map. It's like I can't play either of these characters. So I actually, that first day, I played about 5 rounds, and I didn't win a single one. I'm like, screw this, I'm done. I'm going back to play a normal game. Like, I can't.
A lot of people complain about the balance, and it's just like, it's Tavern Brawl. It's not going to be balanced. Just to let you know, it's fun. I mean, I've mentioned many times on podcasts about like my friends and I doing custom game, wacky rules, and that's basically what this is. 2 weeks ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, we discussed how someone made a post about like make Tavern Brawl in Overwatch, and Jeff Kaplan was like, sounds fun. Something like just like 2 words really quick. And here it is. It wasn't a lot of hard work for them. It's just different little rules. Like there's going to be all offense, all defense, two of each hero, or restrict to limit 2 per hero of that specific role. And like with Genji and Hanzo, there's shorter cooldowns but slower ultimates, and they're tweaking the rules and it's gonna be a fun little side thing to do, and I really like it. I was really surprised they got in the game so fast, and it just shows like, hey, more game modes are going to come, and here's one of them. Like, just it's ready now. Have fun.
I like it too because I've always really liked Tavern Brawl in Hearthstone. It's one of them just because some of the rule sets I really, really love. In Overwatch, I think it's a cool factor. Right now, there's no incentive for it. Like, they don't give you any reward for something like that. Win of the week, you get like a chest roll or something like that. Like, that'd be cool, some incentive, because they're not always balanced, and sometimes you can't play more than a few rounds because they make you want to tear your hair out. But it's a fun thing, and it should be incentivized. Like, it's a way to keep the community kind of friendly and fun. You know what I mean? Having a game mode setting that's just not super try hard ever. You know what I mean? So it's good, and I like it.
Yeah.
No, the one that was yesterday was every time you die, you get a random hero, and that one was kind of fun. I think a lot of people really quickly realized that it's just really snowballing depending on if you get offensive heroes, but that's one of the more fun ones for me. I haven't tried the one today, but it's Justice Reigns from Above. Pharah and Mercy only with reduced cooldowns on their mobility abilities. That just sounds horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually didn't get to play the one today just because I was busy doing a bunch of errands, being a family man.
And napping.
Yeah, and napping. Yeah, I took a nap, woke up, wasn't feeling that good. But, I had seen posts on Reddit, the one today. I have just recently started getting better at Pharah, so it would have been fun to play the one today. But I do know the one yesterday.
You still can.
Well, I know. Probably not right now, though. I'm doing a podcast, Sean. But the one yesterday, later. The one yesterday, there's a lot of graphical glitches. Like the winning team because there was so much switching. I know the one in particular that people were cracking up over was they ended the game as Symmetra, but they were playing as Torbjorn right before that. So it was like a Symmetra skin on the Torbjorn model sitting on a turret, and you're like, God, this is an abomination. And then there was one where it was Zarya, but she had the Roadhog skin, so she looked like Mr. Fantastic all stretched out. It was actually kind of humorous to see. Like there was Lucio had Zarya's pose, and like Junkrat had Lucio's pose. It was quite humorous to see all these different glitches, but like the game mode itself was really fun because you never knew what you were gonna get until you died. And obviously,
my issue with it though, because it was a good game mode, and I do agree with you, but the big thing that I think was busted about it was that whoever you chose at the start, you didn't get. So you had to choose the hero you didn't want to start on because you'd random to a new one as soon as you spawned.
Yeah.
And that just seemed a little counterintuitive and kind of confusing to me. And so I saw people all the time on like defense picking Torbjorn and Bastion and stuff, and I'm going to be like, oh, you're going to be really sad when you get Tracer. Okay, no worries. Like,
yeah. But it was fun. I mean, the game modes that they're adding. Some of them are more chaotic than others, and it's a lot of fun because a game mode like that, it evens out the playing field. For people like me, where there's a couple heroes I just don't touch. I don't really touch Widowmaker. I don't really play Tracer. I don't really play Torbjorn all that much. If I'm going to get those, I'm going to have a hard time. And all I'm going to do is just Leroy Jenkins in and hopefully die and get somebody that I can play. But for people who could play any character, obviously they're going to thrive in that game mode. But it's a fun little concept that Blizzard is adding. It was a hit in Hearthstone, a mega hit in Hearthstone, and I can see it being the same thing in Overwatch, just because it's fun. I mean, you're not in control of the rules. You're at the mercy of whatever the weekly rule is, and so is the next guy and the next guy after that. So it's kind of just a fun little side thing. And I hope that they continue to add more rule sets where you're like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Like, I don't want this week to ever end. But it was a fun little addition via this patch this week. And, outside of the possibility of getting a loot box for your first win, there's really no other incentive to do it. They might add it in the future. I would too. I mean, it's a free loot box. Cool, like awesome. But that was cool. And then they also added a lot of people in the community were clamoring because if you got to play the game or you got a really good play in a game but it ended up not being the play of the game, there was no way to go back and watch it if you wanted to create like a highlight on YouTube and share it with the community, or you just wanted to like watch it again to be like, oh my God, how, or you were on the receiving side of one of those, you're like, how did they pull that off? Like, you could go back and watch these highlights of the matches. And so they added highlights into the game, and it stores either your plays of the game or your highlights for the previous 5 games, so you can go back and watch those. And then as you reach the 6th game, your first game will drop off. And so it's nice that they added this so people can go back and watch the highlights, so they can kind of be like, I'm awesome, I'm going to share this with the world. I got a quadra kill with this tire. I'm not that I'm speaking from personal experience, but I got a quadra kill with this tire, and I want to go back and share it on Reddit or whatever. And there's no.
I think the best little part about that is when you go in your highlight, it shows the clip, it fades out, and then an Overwatch logo fades in, and it's just like, oh, you know what people are gonna do? They're gonna post this on YouTube.
Yep. Not that I've done it yet, which I haven't, but in the future, you never know.
They're not always good because you're good. You get a highlight every single match.
Yeah.
And I've had it just like I had a Symmetra game where it's just like all I did was literally place a turret and just walk away, and it was like that was a highlight.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are some where it's retarded, and that went along. Something that went along with the patch that they changed. Where they changed how plays of the game are calculated. So now the algorithm they use, you're not just going to see a bunch of Torbjorn standing there hammering a turret while he gets a triple kill.
Those are the classics, man.
Yeah.
That is play of the game.
Which category does it fit into? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, is it gonna fit
Obviously,
into
sharpshooter. Come on, there's so much. there's
number
so
of
much
hammers
skill
stroke?
there.
Yeah, I don't know. But and that's nice because along with the highlight system, they also changed how it plays the game. So you actually might see more supports. You might see less Bastions and Torbjorns. I'm saying might because so far I've still seen a lot of Bastions and Torbjorns, but
Yeah.
I've also seen a lot of Widowmakers too. Lately, I've seen a lot of Tracers. Like, there's more variation in plays of the game than before, where you just defended on a map and you picked Bastion and you would just get a triple kill because you'd sentry up and mow down 3 people as they came in the door. That
Well,
changed.
I think it's really interesting how they're doing it with the new categories right now, and I like how they're being transparent about it. So basically, how it's working now is there's 4 categories in which plays are recorded and compared against other ones in the game. The first category is high score, which is basically your large multi-kills and kill streaks, a lot of points accumulated at once. Of course, we don't see these points, and then you have lifesaver, which is basically you save your teammate from getting killed or something, you get credit. The sharpshooter which should display difficult or skillful kills. So like if a Lucio is about to drop the beat and you shoot him right in the head right as he's gonna drop the beat and prevents that, then that's just like a sharpshooter. Or shutdown, kind of similar, but killing another player right as they're going to do something impactful. So say you kill them right before they get on the point and end the game, that'd be a shutdown. It's just the player with the highest score in any of these categories will get to play the game, and that category will also be called out during that play game. It's just, I like how transparent they're being, and just be like, this is how it's going to work. This is how it's tallied. This is how it's compared, and it's transparency, and I love it, and I love that they're working so hard on changing this system, especially because people have been asking for it for so long. And I know they're returning some of the older play of the game systems so that it's easier for abilities like Mercy's Resurrect to get play of the game. And that's something that's been requested a long time. I mean, we've seen
And
plays
it
of the
really
game.
should be too.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, like I know playing with Veritech because we stream so much when we play. Like there have literally been entire games where I'm just like, oh god damn it, we just lost because it was a perfect like 5-man Mercy res. Great, this is awesome. I love this balance. And I mean, like that's the argument you say just when you're losing, lag. Like I'm not saying that Mercy's ult's fine. There's no imbalance there, but it blows my mind that you can't, like, before this, you couldn't really get a play of the game like that. You know what I mean? Because it's huge. Like, yeah, you're not really doing damage, and it might not be, like, a direct heal value. You know what I mean? But that's what wins games. Like, that ultimate is so powerful.
There was a clip, like, a week or two ago where Reaper, some offensive character, went in and gets a huge multi-kill in their play, and they get to play the game for it. But then the other team's Mercy resurrects the entire team, and it's like, that's probably a bit cooler. Like, your entire team died, and you just saved all of their asses. So it's just like, yeah, we need to get some healer credit in, and hopefully this helps out. And this is just, they've said this is just the tip of the iceberg with what they're going to do. They want to add more categories to this, and dynamic cameras and all kinds of things. They want to improve play of the game and make it the true play of the game system, and I'm just so fucking excited for this whole thing to get fleshed out.
Yeah.
The only thing that bums me out about it is I'm going to be really sad not farming Symmetra and Torbjorn plays of the game all day. Because, I mean, it's my favorite, man. I love that feeling getting like 4 or 5 in a day. You know, you just pat yourself on the back. You're like, oh, man, super skillful. But I'm going to miss it. But it'll be good. It's healthy for the game. It'll be fun to see. I'm excited to see more variety in the plays of the game.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see more May plays of the game, too, because that hero's insane, and I'm blown away that I never see Blizzard plays of the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it'll be good.
Yeah, and it's already added some depth. I know there was one, I was in a game where we had a Mercy on our team, and it was on Temple of Anubis, and the team ran in one at a time. I was on the defending team, and the team ran in one at a time, essentially in a line, and there was a Bastion sentryed up, mowed him down. Mercy came in, rezzed all 5 of them that had died. Bastion reloaded, mowed him down again, and that ended up being the play of the game because he got 11 kills right out of that. But it was like, for the entire match, this Mercy was having these clutch rezzes where like her team died on the first point, and then she rezzed him, and they ended up wiping us on the first point, which is the reason why we were defending on the second point. But it's like, I mean, typical Bastion. But then the very next match, I had that Mercy on my team because the lobby switched up, and the play of the game ended up being a res. But it was also because Mercy picked up a double kill with her pistol, and you don't see that really ever. It probably would have been a Torbjorn, or it would have been a Tracer, or it would have been a Hanzo with his Dragon Arrow. Instead, and it was Mercy. It was like, holy crap, Mercy just got to play the game. And it's really cool that you're able to see that, because they are calculating scores differently now. So it's going to make a lot of people who kind of get stuck playing supports, like myself, get more plays of the game if they're not on characters like Junkrat. If they're on characters like Lucio or Zenyatta, you're going to see more plays of the game. And so, that's really good, and I'm really happy that they added that in this patch along with the highlight system. Another thing that they added in the patch was player progression, things like achievements. And it's funny because I was getting achievements my first couple of matches because it was backdating stuff I had gotten, reach level 10, reach level 30, reach level 50. Well, I'm level 68 in the game now, so I would get this achievement, and I'd be like, wait, what is that? What does that mean? I'd have to back out and see what that, and I'm like, oh, that's what that achievement is. Okay, wait, what is that achievement? What did I just get? And there's one for play every map, and I got it as soon as I played Route 66 because I played all the other maps. But
Yeah.
Just little things like that. I mean, adding an achievement system, that's awesome. And hopefully that they're gonna do something with it. Right now, you get sprays. They took the 8-bit sprays away from all the characters, and now you can earn those 8-bit sprays through getting achievements.
Wait, what?
Yeah, some of those achievements you get the sprays.
Yeah, that's how you get Pixel, and that's how you get the cute sprays now. That's why you can't buy them, and that's also why I'm so happy I bought most of them before they changed that.
Yeah.
I'm so tilted right now. Those are my favorite sprays.
We'll get the achievements. Get some achievements.
Damn it, Blizzard. Making me work.
Yep. But, the fact that they tied achievements to something of value, because, I mean, I love the 8-bit ones and the cute ones. I was able to get most of the 8-bit ones before they implemented the achievement system. Now, it won't matter once the game releases, because we're all going to be level 1 with no achievements, and you're going to have to earn them all. But it's cool that they are thinking a little bit like, well, how can we add more depth to this? How can we give players even more to work towards, instead of just, load in, okay, we're playing on this map, I'm going to pick this character. We won, awesome, my career profile, I have a better winning percentage, my elimination death ratio is better. Now you have achievements, and there's something tied to them, and it's something that most people want because the 8-bit ones look really cool. The cute little sprays look really, people want those. So they added that achievement system in, and you can also view the achievement system on your career profile, what you've unlocked, what you still need to unlock. So I think that's it's a step in the right direction. Obviously, everyone won't be happy. As you can see, the guy to my right isn't super happy that you have to unlock those sprays, but it's overall, I think it's a positive thing.
To be fair, I mean, I could see it. I'm a little bummed that, the 4 I don't have, I can't use my gold to get, because I'm only missing a few at this point. But I love achievement rewards. I think it's cool because, admittingly, it encourages players to do things that they might not necessarily be good at, and you could argue that that's toxic for the game. But on the same note, you're rewarding players for doing cool things. It's a good system. I like it in games when they have it. I've never been somebody who's like, I'm gonna hunt for gamer score. I need to up my PSN trophies, you know what I mean? But whenever you get an achievement, it's like, oh, you get a skin or something like that. As much as I did not thoroughly enjoy Heroes of New Earth, there was a long period of time where you could earn skins as achievements and things like that for your characters, and I always thought it was a good system. So seeing it in Overwatch and seeing it used with what could be argued are the best sprays too, the ones that people want the most, I think it's okay. It's a little bit of a bummer, but I like that it's in the game.
It's alright.
Yeah,
and then gives me an incentive.
Yeah, and then one of the things that I always complained about, and they went ahead and found a way to do it, is now once you hit account level 100, you roll over essentially in a quote-unquote promotion. For those of you who played Call of Duty, it's akin to the prestige system. Once you hit level 100, you start over with a different border at level 1, quote-unquote. And then you hit level 200, you get a little star on your portrait, and you're level 1 with the star, and level 300, and it goes up, and you unlock a new portrait every 10 levels rather than at level 25 and at level 50. They went ahead and added that. So for people like me, who I'm like, I really don't want to see a level 219, what are you going to do with this? They went ahead and added an ability to roll over, that. So people who have OCD like myself can be like, oh, okay, so, their fifth promotion, level 14, cool, whatever. And you don't lose any of your achievements. You don't lose any of your, what you've earned so far. Unlike in the prestige system, where in Call of Duty, where you prestige and you lose all your weapons and you have to unlock them again. You don't lose anything.
They reward. Here's like 20 levels of reduced experience to get a loot box. It's like, here's a fuck ton of loot boxes. It's like, that's actually awesome. Instead of taking things away when you prestige, you gain a lot of loot really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to roll over. I want to get more boxes, especially with a bunch of the new skins they added. I mean, we'll get into those here in a second, but oh man, some of them I want so bad. Like, give me the loot, give me the loot.
Please, more boxes.
Yeah. And like I said, for people like me, you get more boxes, but it gives you something to do with those levels rather than just, I'm just going to level up to level 6 million. Well, now, you get to start over again, and it's not 22,000 experience every level. It resets, reverts back to the original experience gain all the way up to level 20. So it's nice. And you get to show off that shiny portrait. I know I had a level, I think it was 208 in one of my games, because he had the 1 star. It was the bronze portrait, and it said level 8. And on first glance, I'm like, crap, a new person. And then I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, they've got a star. They're level.
Nope.
Yeah, nope. I'm the new person. I'm only level 68 or 69, whatever it is. But it's cool because you get more loot boxes. You don't have to pay for them. It's inevitable that they are going to add the store. It's already in the game. They just haven't enabled it yet, where you can pay real money for loot boxes. But this gives you another incentive once you hit level 100 and 200 to go back and get more loot boxes, and they're easier to get at those low levels. So not only is it good, not only is it good for people like me, where I want to see that number roll over, but it's good for people who want to get more unlocks. So. And then for the second patch in a row, they added more legendary skins.
Woo! Give us more cosmetics. I don't want to be that guy, but give us more cosmetics. I want more hats.
More hats. They added more hats, and they actually changed the name on some of them. Like, Antique Bastion used to be the Wooden Bastion, and they added a Wooden Bastion. So now you have these two different colored Bastion skins. They added, arguably, a lot of people say it's the best skin. I don't play a lot of her, but Junkrat Diva. It looks really cool, and it's something that Diva didn't have a legendary skin, and now she has 2. So it's really cool that they added all of these skins.
Is Junkrat Diva and Bumblebee Diva, and I know Donovan really likes the Bumblebee Diva, but I want Mad Max Junkrat Diva. It's her
great.
regular,
it's great.
Like the shitty mech with the WR3KD wrecked license plate on the back. And then her armor and on her like person is really cool. I'm just like, oh god, I need Junked so bad. It's so good. And then Stinger, the Bumblebee one. It's just like, oh
just
wow,
that's the robot. Literally, I'm just super into the robot, and that's cosmetic because the bunny robot is really iconic, and you see it, and you're like, oh, it looks like a bunny. That's super cute. But then you see it as a hornet, and you're like, oh my god. These things can fly. Know what I mean? It's so good. Junker is better as an overall concept. It's well executed. There's a lot of detail in it. Her and the pilot has the costume and the overalls and the white. It's good. It's good. But giant bee robot, man. It sounds like a B-level monster movie. You know what I mean? So
it's pretty fun. Cool. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Just both of them are good. I know that you were super curious to see what they were going to do with skins for her, so it's nice to see that the people who are really into Diva and like that design are getting rewarded with awesome legendaries finally.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I mean, personally, I know a lot of people liked it, but it wasn't as talked about as the Diva skins. I still like that Nevermore Reaper. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it right now because I'm not in the game. I didn't take a screenshot before we started the podcast. But for those of you who can, there is a video on YouTube of all the new skins. Somebody has gone through and looked at them. If you type in, Overwatch and you look for this past week, new skins. I love the Nevermore Reaper skin. It's my favorite. And it's only because I play Reaper. I don't really play Diva, but I do like the Bumblebee Diva skin as well. Stinger Diva, I think is what it's officially called. But
it's just the dark purple Raven themed, and it's really cool. I know some people are really fucking excited about it. I know my friend quoted Nevermore flipped out. It's like, it has my name in the title. It's my namesake. It's like, yep.
Yeah,
it's fun cool. It's just a big ass beak.
See, there are things I really like about it. I really like the gun design on it. His shotguns, how they look like beaks and they look like birds. I'm really into that. I really like the cape and everything too. But I know that Veritech can back me up on this. My least favorite thing about Reaper's character design are his goddamn bird hands. And just that skin, it's just more bird hands, and it drives me crazy. They took the one thing I didn't like about that character and turned it into his skin, and it makes me so sad. But I'll admit that the assets are good, and I can understand why people like it. But I am anti-Bird Reaper. I don't like bird hands.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead, while we're talking about more of these skins, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the overlay. So bear with me, people who are watching.
The other thing too, and I'm surprised nobody's really talked about it, and I mean, to be fair, I should have been the one to bring it up, but the Pirate Torbjorn skins, those are pretty good, man. Like the little cannon turret and everything, I'm super into them. I've only seen them in-game once, but like the little steering wheel on his back and everything, I just opened the yellow recolor in a box before this patch, and I was like, sweet, I finally have a Torb skin. Yellow's my least favorite color, but I have a skin. That's awesome. And now seeing these legendaries just being like, oh, come on, man. Like, give me one of those. Like,
fucking Pirate Torbjorn is just so cool.
It's good. It's really good. It's one of those ones where, like, I wouldn't have necessarily thought of that as a cosmetic, but it looks so good, and it fits so well, because his turrets look like little ship cannons. It's great. Like, it's cool. I love that whenever they're adding legendaries, they don't really feel sloppy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you could kind of make the argument for Space Frog, but it's really just a Deadmau5 call-out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there really isn't a legendary skin that lacks polish. Like, you might not necessarily agree with the artistic direction, but they're all really well executed. So I like seeing more Torb legendaries, because I wasn't super into the biker ones. Like, it's not that I think they're bad, it's just not how I pictured Torb. You know what I mean? It's like a personal thing. It's a personal taste. So I really, really want those legendaries because they look so awesome.
Yeah, and I do like the Torb ones just because it's like a little mini Barbosa. It's like, he's a pirate. That's funny. But they are just adding so much to this game cosmetic-wise. And there's the Nevermore skin, guys, right there. It's on the screen right now. Look at that. It looks so sick. Like, I absolutely love that skin. Like, it's just, I mean,
I like what they're doing with the three colors as well. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Just to fuck with the people who complained about Daredevil 76, they added in a helmet. Just like, it's like here's another recolor stunt rider. It's like now he has a helmet, so he's even more different. Sorry. And what else we have? Like Vigilante McCree. Have you guys seen Vigilante McCree?
I haven't actually seen it in game yet.
It's Mystery Man, but bright yellow. And it's just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And then just the shit on all the people, because the Reddit consensus is that the worst skin in the game is Zarya's industrial skin, which I actually happen to like. But
I have it too. That was the first legendary I got.
Yeah.
They added a turquoise and purple version of it, Cybergoth, and it's just like, suck it. It's another one, and it looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and I got the Space Frog Lucio, which they've now renamed to something else. I got it in a loot crate, which luckily I didn't pay anything for because I actually like the new recolor even more. I think it looks even more polished. And then again the Jester Junkrat. I think the Jester and the Nevermore, both of those look absolutely amazing, and they're right up there along with the Junker Diva. Blizzard is putting so much effort into making this game look polished and awesome. Like, I think everything they've done so far has been just absolutely positive, and I'm really excited to see what direction they take with the game, what they add later in terms of characters and skins. Like, as one I said, I need more hats. There's the Nevermore skin again, looks so good. Ugh. But, I need more hats, give me more hats. If this is Team Fortress 3, this is the hat equivalent for the game. You get more skins. It looks absolutely amazing. And Blizzard is putting so much effort into, giving, crowd pleasing, giving us fan service. Yeah, you have this awesome FPS, but on top of that, now you can even distinguish yourself even more, with 6,000 skins. And, it's awesome, everything they're doing with this game. So,
It's really good.
yeah, yeah. And then they did some quality of life changes. People were joining games for like one lobby, and then they would leave because they're like, man, this lobby really sucks, this team sucks, and they wouldn't really give it a chance. And I know that I've been prone to doing that from time to time, because it's like, you jump into a game, you literally just start the match, and your team is like a bunch of baboons just wanting to sit and throw feces. Like, they don't want to work together. And it's like, I'm just going to leave this lobby. So they added consecutive match bonuses. So now if you stick in that server, or you don't leave, you get XP bonuses. Like, there's other bonuses along with it. And more quality of life stuff, like the backfill match bonus. If you join a game in progress and you lose, it doesn't count against you. But if you win, you do get counted for it. You get credit for that win. And that was the problem. I know I would jump into a game, and it's like, we're on point 2 of Lijiang Tower, and the enemy team has already won the first point, and they're at like 74%, and we are just getting wrecked on the second point. On the second point, it's a loss for me. Like, what the hell? Why did that even happen? Like, now it won't count against us, and we're able to start fresh with the next lobby. So that, they're adding stuff like this. It's really cool, and it's quality of life stuff, just to kind of make it a little bit more balanced, a little bit more fair for the people that jump into stuff like that, and for the people that stick out bad lobbies, because they will eventually balance out.
It's definitely really big for the game. Like, this is something I've been dying for, and I was getting really frustrated with just joining matches that I would instantly lose, and I literally had it happen to me like 4 times in a row in the same session, just like join a loss. I was like, this is getting insane. So many people are just rage quitting because they don't want a loss on their record. And it's like, now there's bonuses to stick out through a lobby, even if you feel like it might be unbalanced or whatever. There's bonuses to stick it out. There's bonuses if you get filled into one where it's already in progress, and then there's a lever penalty, which it'll kick people, it'll punish people who are leaving, and that's really good, and it was really needed, and I'm really glad they jumped on this quickly, because I felt like this was becoming a problem the last month or so.
Yeah.
The only problem with it is the new AFK timer is really short. So if you're not on top of it, you'll get kicked from a game really, really easily.
Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed that too. Like, I had turned my head for maybe like 15 seconds. The game started. I was probably maybe 3 seconds behind my team, but before I hit the button, it was like, if you do not become active, you're going to be kicked. I'm like, whoa, wait! It was only like 15 seconds. Like, it's not like I was AFK for a minute and a half. Like, whatever. But the fact that they're adding this, because I did have people that would just leave the match. You're like, well, how are we supposed to 5v6 now? Like, we don't stand a chance, because not only is our team comp all jacked up, but now we're down a person, and that person would just cycle through. Like, someone else would jump in and leave. Someone else would jump in and leave. It's like, guys, come on. So now those leavers are going to get punished. It counts as a loss, and then if you do it repeatedly, it's an XP, you get an XP penalty. So now you're not earning the full amount of experience. You're not going to have those loot boxes as fast. So it forces you to stay in the game and fight it out, because no game is really a loss until you see defeat on the screen. I've had plenty of matches where I was in a control point, King of the Hill, and we were down 99-0. We wiped them and came back and ended up winning. And it was like, there are matches like that. And if somebody leaves, it really handicaps your ability to come back and do things like that. And plus, matches like that feel so much more epic when you feel like you're against the ropes and then you come back and knock the enemy team out. So adding those lever penalties, I think, is a good step. I don't know if it's harsh enough yet, but obviously shows that they're trying to come up with a system like that.
I just want the domino effect to stop. Like, if one person leaves, it's not the end of the world, but it's when it turns into the train that drives me crazy. Like, I know we had a match the other day where we were against LZ and Seagull, something like that. Veritech, I don't really remember. And, like, it was on Ilios. And, like, we crushed the first round, and then the second round they started coming back. And we had, like, 8 leavers in a row, and we couldn't even get a solid team for the third round because everybody was just joining and leaving, joining and leaving, joining and leaving. And like by the end, we had spent literally 8 minutes just playing with like 20 or 30 people because nobody was staying in longer than like 5 seconds. So that's what kills me, is the domino effect.
Yeah.
And that's what I really am hoping that it'll curb, because leavers are going to be a part of any game no matter what the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you see trolls in games where you get penalized and even banned and things like that. But if it can stop the general populace from just training, then I'm all for it. Hopefully it'll be enough. They might have to do more.
Yeah, and I do remember that game fondly because I think we were against ZPs and Seagull, and we had a couple high competitive level players on our team, and we crushed the first round. But the second round, it was just like they noticed we were losing, so they're like, "Well, we'll stick it out." We lost that one, and then the third round on Ilios, it was like, "Well, we're not going to win this, so I'm just gone." And they left, and it was like, we can actually win this, but now because you left and the other enemy team still has these highly skilled players on them, and now we've got the revolving door effect. People load in, they're like, "Oh crap, it's Seagull and ZPs. I'm gone. Like this is already a loss." So adding that will really help, and it's a good start. We'll see where they take the lever system, but at least they're building a foundation, and that's really good. And then they also, in line with those stomps on maps, they changed routes on some of the maps. Like on Nepal, the second control point, they dropped the walls. So now there's pillars in the way, but there's not walls, so you can't just like wall yourself in and just kind of turtle. It's a lot more open on that area. And they did that with a couple other control points on various maps. They opened them up, they changed routes, so it's a little bit easier to get in and kind of wipe the enemy team, and it's a lot less harder for the enemy team to turtle. So that'll help, I think, with leavers wanting to leave the game. Now it's like, well, not only am I going to get penalized, but it's easier for us to siege this point and take it. We just have to find the right team comp. So they added that in this patch as well. And then they added some walls. They removed some walls. They opened up doorways. It feels a little bit more open and a lot less like, well, we're just going to get stomped if we don't get there first. And Nepal keeps jumping out in mind. The second point is really kind of the biggest change that they did when they removed those walls. But all of that stuff coupled together, I think, will really help with people not wanting to leave then and stick it out. Because like I said, no game is a loss until you see defeat on the screen. So, and then they also did some other quality of life things. Like one of my biggest problems was anytime you wanted to back out of a match and open a loot box, you had to like reform the party. So now they added it so that if you're the group leader and you want to leave, you can choose to either leave the game with the party intact, or you can just disband the party. Like if you're done, you're like, hey, like for myself, if I'm streaming and I'm like, well, we got a loot box or two to open, I'm done with my streaming time is done. You guys go ahead and play. I'm gonna open these loot boxes. I can disband the team or disband the party, and cool. But otherwise, if it's like, well, we all got loot boxes, let's open them, I don't have to go and reform the party. We can just jump out as a party and jump back in. So it's another little thing that I think is a big change that I really like. And then they also added a practice range, so now you can test out ranges on abilities of characters. And
the practice range was there. They just changed it visually. It's a small note, but I really liked it. I walked in and I was like, there's new obstacles. They changed the layout a bit, and it's no longer in Gibraltar. It's in the Arctic. Okay, and a lot of people don't know or even use it, but I really feel like people should start using the practice range more. It's a good area to just dink around, play with things, learn how much damage abilities do, test out your characters you're not that good with. It's a good stomping ground to experiment in.
It's really handy. I know that's where I went to practice my Roadhog hooks, because in a first-person shooter, there's no like real visual indicator on it. You know what I mean? So you don't know exactly how long the length is. You have to feel it out. And so that's where I went to, learn this is exactly it. This is the number of pixels. This is the number of yards, and you're going to land it. And so like ever since then, I've had a much easier time landing like jump hooks and things like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's a good tool. I like that they're supporting it. I do think people should use it more. It's one of those things that you don't really think would affect your gameplay, but it helps out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll definitely stop those Reapers who want to sit back and snipe, when Reapers is much better up close in people's faces, so they'll be able to go to the practice range and see, oh, this character does more damage when I'm up close. I better get up closer in a match. The number of Reapers that I see that sit back and try and snipe, I'm sorry, you're wielding hand cannons. Like, go to the practice range and learn the character, please. So that's nice that they kind of updated it and they changed it, and I know I've used it. And when I first started playing Reaper, I wanted to see what the damage difference was between getting in somebody's face and sitting back and trying to play it safe. Or like with Widowmaker, I use that to practice my sniping because I am very, very slow on reacting to seeing people when I'm sniping because I don't play her that much. So I just go in there every time I hop in and just, a couple minutes with Widowmaker just to practice even just aiming. And it's a good little change that they updated, and it just made quality of life much better. They also added the option to skip skirmishes, which is nice. That way you're not cascading from one skirmish to the next waiting to join a game. You can just stop and it'll throw you in a lobby when it's ready to go. No more like false positives where it's like, all right, we're going to go, and then 3 people leave. Well, now we have a skirmish with 6 people, 7 people in here. And you can skip skirmishes.
That's really nice, honestly, just thinking around in the menus between games.
Well, it's nice because since you aren't forced out of the menus, you can like set what cosmetics you're using. You can open loot boxes. Yeah. It's about time. Like skirmishes are cool, and they're cool when there aren't a lot of people in the game because it gives you something to do. But at this point, there are a lot of people in the game. If I'm gonna have like a minute of downtime, I'd honestly rather have the minute of downtime so I can look at cosmetics. You know what I mean? So it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then players can also save and set like hero-specific keybinds. So that you don't have the same keybinds for every hero. I know I'm kind of scrubby, and I just play the same layout no matter what the character is because I'm not pro by any means. But some players, that really, they have a specific way that they have their keyboard set up where their hotkeys are different depending on what characters they play, and you're able to save those now and change the loadouts without having just to kind of struggle through, well, I play Lucio, but we're really getting smashed, so now I need to switch to, say a Mercy so that I have the res, and my keybinds are different, but shoot, like I have to struggle through that. So they went ahead and updated that, so now you can go ahead and save and load keybinds. Again, another quality of life change. It's something small that really could go a long way down the line as people pick up the game and kind of learn the intricacies of Overwatch. And then something that Azax pointed out that I noticed, but it wasn't a big thing, was the UI fonts and arts have been altered and changed. And it looks a lot cleaner. It looks a lot brighter, a lot more polished. Again, another quality of life thing that it's a little thing that's going to go a long way. They did the same thing with Heroes of the Storm, just constantly tweaking and making UIs much better. And if there's anything that you guys want to go back on those last 2 points and talk about, feel free, add your own input. But they're just minor things, but I think it'll snowball and people will really appreciate it, 3 or 4 months from now after the game is released.
It's true. And I mean, really, I was amazed at how impactful the slight visual update looked, because it wasn't something that was really hyped on and like the patch notes are really talked about, and not really something I was expecting. But loading in, like it's true that you can always make something better. And the fact that the game is brighter now, everything looks like it has a little more gloss. The lines are a little more defined and a little bit thinner and a little bit cleaner. Like the game looks awesome. Every time I see a patch, it makes me excited, and I like that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. As I said earlier, every new patch, the game just gets more and more fleshed out and better, and I love it. Yeah.
And it's those little changes that it makes it. It already felt like a complete game, but now it feels like a more completer game. And it shows that they're paying attention to the little things, not just the big things. I know one of the biggest qualms people have had with Blizzard in the past, in their past titles, is things just feel broken and things feel overpowered for so long. I was a shaman main in World of Warcraft for many, many years before they actually fixed the class and made them viable. It just felt like you were playing 3/4 of a class compared to everybody else, unless you went a certain spec. In Diablo, they have that one character, that one build in every season where it's overpowered, and they get deeper into the greater rifts than any other class. And, if you're solo rifting. And the same thing with Heroes of the Storm, for when the game was in technical alpha, Arthas Kerrigan was this unstoppable duo roaming combo, and then they nerfed Arthas so he wasn't even competitive anymore. And with Overwatch, with Overwatch, outside of like the highly skilled Genji players and a couple other like skill dependent abilities, there's really no overpowered characters by default. Like everything feels very balanced by comparison, and they've done that while updating graphics and updating the party system and updating the social system, and all these little changes are really going to go a long way, and it really makes me happy to see right now Blizzard is already taking such a keen interest in keeping this game as high quality as possible. So when I see these little things in the patch notes, it's kind of like I just kind of got a nod and smile, because it's like they're listening, they're paying attention, they're not happy with good enough. So even the smallest changes can go a long way. And then they also, along with those visual updates, they updated things like the social interface, the main page. When you go in and look at your friends list, instead of having that long list on the right hand side and you're like, well, who's playing Overwatch, where's my favorites, like I gotta go down here, it's just right there smack dab in your face, and you're like, all right, 4 people are playing Overwatch, these 4 people are playing Overwatch, these 16 scrubs are playing Hearthstone, whatever. Like, these little changes to the UIs I really like. It makes it look like a much cleaner game overall, outside of like the actual gameplay itself.
It's brain fart. It's definitely a nice improvement over the previous social menu, which is a pain in the ass. Just like I had to
it actually works now.
yeah. I had to unfavorite all my favorites on Battle.net because it's just like, this is really cluttered and weird and doesn't work, and now it does. And I love that all the the other games have its own like 8-bit Overwatch style, like Warcraft and everything else in the menu. It looks really good.
Yeah, it looks good. And then some other changes that they did. They didn't really do a whole bunch of hero balancing. Normally they'll kind of tweak numbers. Really the only change they did to hero balancing was with Zenyatta. Now his Orbs of Harmony and Orbs of Discard, if the target that the orbs are on are out of visual sight of Zenyatta for more than 3 seconds, they will return. And that was kind of what made Genji overpowered and people like Reaper overpowered for the longest time, is as Zenyatta would throw an Orb of Harmony on them and then they just go ham, and you're like, holy crap.
I'm sorry, but that's a goddamn nerf. Like, no more fire and
really
forget.
hard.
Like, wow.
See, I have no problem with it healing, but it's a bigger nerf on the Discord than I think on Harmony.
Like, Discord, you're supposed to like throw it out there and help your team, and now it's just like, you need to stay on that target, and you need to coordinate who your Discord's on and keep them in your line of sight. It's a big nerf, and I know they're experimenting. They'll take big swings right now, but damn, that's painful.
Yeah.
The reason it hurts for me is that as Zenyatta, what I really like about Discord is you can use it for tracking mobile characters too. Like, say, Tracer, who's flanking your team around, or Reaper, who's flanking your team around. You could previously drop a Discord on them and it would track them. You could follow the movement of the orb and your team would know where they are. Now, if they're out of your line of sight, you lose it. So that's where I think the nerf hurts the most. The Harmony never really bothered me because when I play Zenyatta, I try to rotate it around a lot anyways. The way I play him is I'll try to counter-focus whoever's getting focused by the enemy team. You know what I mean? But it really hurts the Discord orb. That's the only place I've really felt it.
Yeah. I mean, it changes how you play Zenyatta, and I was never very good with Zenyatta, so it probably won't affect me that much. But at the competitive level, this is like huge. This is monumental. You're no longer are you going to see Seagull or Pluppy going ham on Genji because they have an Orb of Harmony on them. Like, you're gonna have to play differently now. So, it is a big nerf. It looks like it's not on the surface, but when you get down into the nitty gritty, it's like, holy crap! Like, you have to change your entire playstyle with the Zenyatta on a team now. It's not overpowered anymore like it was in the right hands. So that by itself is a huge balance change, but for people like me who don't really play Zenyatta, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't have to be fearful of a Genji. I can just pull him out of line of sight of the Zenyatta and whatever. No big deal.
Or just, you get that Discord on, and you're like, damn it, it's on me. It's like, Okay, just run away. Run in the back line for a minute. It's gone.
It'll
It's all
reset.
good.
Yeah. And then they also changed line of sight checks with like Lucio's sound barrier and his crossfade. Maze Blizzard now, you can't hide behind payloads and stuff like that. Reinhardt's Earth Shatter will now hit you through the payloads. And that's just stuff that was kind of annoying, where you can just like duck behind a payload, or you can duck behind, this map objective, and it wouldn't do anything to you. Now it actually like has some effect, which again, it's kind of a minor thing that's going to go a long way, because now it doesn't feel like disjointed. It feels more complete now. Like if you feel like you whiff an ultimate, if somebody goes and hides behind a payload and you drop an Earth Shatter on Reinhardt, it's going to stun them, so you'll have a chance to run around the payload and finish them off. So that little balance change, it's not really numbers tweaking like they've done in past patches, but it's still something that it makes the game, I think, better overall, because people can't exploit map mechanics anymore.
I think that honestly, it's one of the bigger buffs they've given Mei. I feel like Blizzard is critically underrated as an AoE control, mainly because it felt so weak on payload. Because you would drop it on a payload and they'd just stand on the other side of the Blizzard and it wouldn't hit them. But now it's not like that. So as opposed to where Blizzard is, the king of control point, now Blizzard is going to start dominating payload again. And that's something that I think makes sense. I think that we're going to see a lot more Blizzard plays of the game, and I'm pretty excited for it.
A Blizzard show to go through a fucking payload. It's a Blizzard. It goes around it. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't played a ton of matches because I've been busy this week, but from what I've seen, it's definitely people are not able to exploit payload mechanics. Now you're not going to get away with, I'm out of position, let me just stand a little bit behind this payload and I'm not going to get hit by it. Like, now an ultimate will actually hit you, or now Zenyatta's Transcendence will actually heal you through the payload if you're on the other side. So it's nice that is getting changed in the game. Going forward, I think it's definitely a positive thing. So I think that just about covers the patch, though. If you guys have any other kind of last thoughts about it before we jump into the competitive news that happened this week.
Buff Zenyatta's health. Give him plus 50 health already. I know I say it every time we stream, but it blows my mind that Lucio gets 200 health and like Symmetra gets 200 health and stuff like that, but Zenyatta, who is the least mobile and the most defensively prepared of all the supports, except for maybe Mercy, except she still has, her shift, 150 health.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's 50 health and 100 shield. So, I don't know. Please, Blizzard, give him 50 more health. I think that's a buff he really deserves and kind of needs.
Yeah. You're muted, Azax.
God, oh my God. Sorry. He's been nerfed like 4 patches in a row. So just give him the 200 health. Make him feel a bit better. He doesn't need to be the squishy.
Yeah, stop breaking his robot knees. Come on, man.
Yeah, no more Reinhardt hammers to the knees. Like, come on. Enough. And I'm definitely in agreement with you. Like, having 50 health, 100 armor, it's like he can still get headshotted. Like, if you're going to put all the other supports at 200 health, put him at 200 health. Or give him more armor. Give him 150 armor because, he's not an organic being. He's
a robot.
He's
he
a
needs
robot.
Armor. Come on.
Give him 200 armor then. Like, whatever. But give him 200 of a health pool. That's, it's a valid concern. Hopefully, Blizzard, you'll get on that. Give him 200 health pool. So, yeah. On the competitive side, this just came out recently. One of the top teams that was formed out of the Not Enigma breakup, Mix-Up, was just picked up by Luminosity Gaming. Luminosity is not big in scenes outside of FPSs, but people who follow Call of Duty and CSGO especially, that is a huge name in the FPS genre. So Mix-Up getting picked up by them, that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of awesome. So, it's cool. I'm glad that they're seeing their hard work pay off, and I wish them nothing but the best. And then, you guys have any thoughts on that before we move on to the next thing?
I like seeing more of the FPS franchises step in too, because as there are a lot of people in the esports who don't follow the FPS scene because for a long time it was really toxic and not super fun to follow. You know what I mean? So like I have no experience with anybody who was primarily Halo contracts or anything like that. So I like seeing them get involved. I think it's cool.
It's like it's an established org, but to me it's new, so I'll take it.
Yeah. And then on the European side, G2 Kingwin had a team and it disbanded. They picked up another team. That team has disbanded. I watched some of the EU side this past weekend, and they were doing well, but they weren't being really competitive against like the top teams. And it's unfortunate that the roster disbanded a second time, but I mean that's life. The game's not even released yet, and eventually they'll find a stable roster of of players. But yeah. I mean, I didn't really follow.
Cold feet, and they're not the Kingwin's not the first organization to do this either. It seems like people are getting kind of nervous about Overwatch.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't really see it. I feel like a lot of my reservation about it was sort of lost when I saw how supportive organizations have already been. The fact that there are tournaments, sure, we're talking about really meager and almost forgettable prize pools and things like that, but like it's got a supportive scene already, you know what I mean? So I think it'll be successful. I'm kind of surprised to see more teams getting cold feet. I figured I'd see more people jumping in at this point.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And then, excuse me, on the big quote unquote premier tournaments for Gosu Gamers NA Weekly, Envious defeated Mix-Up 3-1, and then in the finals, but Mix-Up, Azax put this in the show notes just for me. Mix-Up, in order to get to the finals, beat Cloud9 2-1. It was rigged. Cloud9 should have been in the finals, but I actually watched those matches. I turned it off halfway through the third set because it's like, Cloud9, they're just... Mix-Up is a very, very, very good team.
Can't lose. No, not C9.
No, C9 will lose. Any organization will lose, except one, and we'll get to them in a second. But Luminosity, Mix-Up, now known as Luminosity, lost to Envious in the finals. So Envious, again, they came back after a week off and really showed their dominance. They beat Mix-Up. It wasn't a 3-0 sweep like they normally do, but it was 3-1. So they went ahead and won that. Congrats to Envious for winning yet another Gosu Gamers. And then in the Gosu Gamers EU side, a name that we always drop, Tembo Storm Liquid CLG, a.k.a. IDDQD. They beat Reunited GG 3-0 in the finals. Once again, they were undefeated.
They are crushing so hard, man. Like, it is terrifying to see them play.
I wanted to include more of the esports tournaments that happened that week, but it was just IDDQD winning everything, so yeah. They did play the King of the Watch tournament or something like that, and they played Mix-Up, and Mix-Up actually took a game off them. So holy shit, someone can actually take a game off them, and then they just got shit stomped the rest of the way. So
yeah,
even IDDQD will see that gods can bleed. Like
yeah. IDDQD will fall, but for the time being, like, they're just untouchable. And again, in King of the Watch, they beat Reunited GG 4-0 in the finals. I mean, this team, and I think for the last 2 weeks we've talked about, it's only a matter of time till they get picked up. It's only a matter of time till they get picked up. I think organizations are just lowballing them because they want to lock this roster down because they see the potential. Like,
just gonna say, from what I know, the Overwatch contracts are not currently that lucrative.
No, they're not.
So IDDQD is probably holding out for something to actually half decent, considering they're so fucking undefeated. They don't need to settle for like $500, $400 a month when they can hold out for actual money, considering they're so fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, not only are they really good in game, but out of game they seem to be really smart, and so I wish them the best. Whatever they decide to do, they could go the route of Tempo Storm and create their own organization if they so choose to, because their success is just, I mean, they have so many options, but for like the fourth week in a row, IDDQD is pretty much tops in every tournament. So grats to them. Another couple of notches they can add to their bedpost. I mean, sky's the limit for them, truly. So yeah, I think that just about covers up the competitive esports side of things. We are running right about 80 minutes. I don't know if you guys want to go into a deep dive or if we just want to wrap it up here. I'll leave it up to my co-hosts. I can go either way. As you can tell, my voice is starting to go out. So
Yeah, your voice is dying. We can always save the deep dive for next week too. That's not really a problem. So.
We wanted to do the weekly deep dive thing, but in all good honesty, there's just been so much going on, and we have missed weeks unfortunately due to extenuating circumstances. But just we'll get to them eventually. It's just Veritek's voice is dying, and we had a lot of news this week. So
Also, sort of a sneak peek, like the one we have on the roster is Winston, and when we do deep dive into Winston, there are a lot of nuances in how you actually play the giant gorilla. So I feel like that's a character we're going to end up talking about for like 20, 30 minutes once we get into him, because, I mean, it's crazy. The stuff you can pull on Winston's absolutely absurd.
yeah.
oh, Winston.
They don't call him Leuston, baby.
Yeah, and we'll probably cover
Wow.
that. We'll probably cover that next week. But for now, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. Start doing our closings. Azax, where can people find you at when we're not doing our podcast?
In my bedroom because it's spring break. Oh,
Woo!
Twitter at
Ayo.
AX Gaming, ACAX Gaming. Hit me up there. Where can we find you, Veritek? Why did I go to Veritek? I meant one eye.
Yeah, I think I'll go because Veritek will wrap it up. But if anybody wants to contact me, I'm always available over at Twitter. My handle's at NA1I. And then also, a few weeks ago, we started doing a weekly podcast with another organization I'm involved with, Multitech. Last week we did a music podcast. The week before that we did a podcast focused on horror movies and things like that. It's sort of like a variety podcast because as a group we span a bunch of different consoles, a bunch of different genres, things like that. So if anybody's interested in that sort of deal, we do those every Wednesday. And I'm pretty sure next week's episode, the ideas we're kind of spitballing around with is either going to be focused primarily on RPGs and those different genres, or we might be doing an episode discussing mascot franchises, so things like Sonic, Mario, stuff like that. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
Not to interrupt, I think that's pretty fun cool, the diversity of able to share there. Just a random thought, I had a great idea that I actually thought about today that I want to do now. I want to do like a podcast called like Binged or something, where we just, like every time a new Netflix show comes out, we binge it in like 2 days and then discuss it.
Oh, like a book club?
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Call it Binge Club? Oh, man. I mean, that's a strong name right there, right?
I do that every time a new Netflix show comes out. It's just like I binge it in the first like 18 hours, and I'm like, I want to talk to people about this. Come on.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
All
Well-
right, Veritek.
As for me, you are watching this on my channel. For those of you who are listening at home on iTunes or Spreaker, you can find me at gaming.youtube.com/VeritekGG. I stream 7 days a week for the foreseeable future. I am a sponsored content creator. Hold inoperative mic for dramatic effect. I am also verified. So you can catch me there, and you can also find me on Twitter at VeritekGG.
I'm legit.
I'm legit. I am a legit.
Too legit to quit.
So you can find me on Twitter at VeritekGG. Those are the big two places you can find me. If I'm not there, leave a message and I'll get back to you. So if you guys don't have anything else, I think that just about wraps up episode 8 for the Guardians. For my lovely co-hosts, Old One Eye and Azax, I am Veritek saying catch you guys next Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, episode 9 of the Guardians. We will see you then.